Welcome, dear listeners, to the wild and wacky world of true tall tales, where the extraordinary becomes the ordinary, and the unbelievable becomes, well, true. I'm your host, Sunny Boy, and if there's one thing I've learned in my adventures through life, is that reality is often stranger than fiction. I've faced off against ferocious foes in the form of sausage dogs attacking me, putting me in hospital, cutting off my middle finger, and even having a magpie bird ripping my face open. But fear not, for these tales are just a tip of the iceberg. Each week I'll be diving headfirst into the realm of the bizarre and sitting down with a new guest who brings their own unique blend of truth and tall tales to the table. And trust me, poddies, the stories we uncover will leave you scratching your heads in disbelief and roaring with laughter. Now picture this, our next guest is a masterful artist whose brushstrokes could rival the strokes of genius themselves. But here's the twist. She's also got a penchant for purring companions and a knack for napping in sunbeams. That's right, poddies, she's practically a feline in human form. I've had the pleasure of knowing this creative, cat-loving character for years, and let me tell you, there's never a dull moment when she's around. So buckle up, dear listeners, because with her tall tales, we're in for a perfectly delightful ride. And remember, poddies, each story you hear is as fresh to me as it is to you. Because here at True Tall Tales, spontaneity is the name of the game. Without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to our guest of the hour, the one, the only, Jussi.
Welcome to the show, Jussi, all the way from Brisbane, Australia. Thank you for coming on the show of True Tall Tales. And as you know, part of this show is you're a guest to tell a true story that's happened to you or many more to me, hearing it for my first time, and my listeners. Take the mic and let's go.
Hello, everyone. I have a tale. I've got a few, but I guess this is the one of how I got my first tattoos.
Your first tattoo? How many tattoos do you have, Jussi?
I've got a lot more from then, but I didn't have any at the time. So this is the first time the needle went to skin, sort of thing. Unexpectedly, I guess.
Nice. Well, let's listen to it. How did Jussi, the artist, get her first tattoo?
So I guess, this gives homage to, I guess, like the venue of Frankie's Pizza, which is now closed, unfortunately, in Sydney. It's where a lot of sort of musicians would hang out. And you could get pizza, you could get whiskey. There were all these sort of little hidey holes. There were bands playing. It had a really great atmosphere. But so me and my friend, good best friend, we went there one evening, and we went in. We were having a good time. We were having a few drinks, as you do, dancing around. And then we noticed there was like a group of guys like over in the corner, and they were smoking indoors, and like you're not allowed to smoke indoors
in Sydney. In Australia it's illegal, correct? But the place, Frankie's, is very rock and roll, so it suits its vibe. I have been there. It's very cool. So you saw them smoking? And
we're like, why are they allowed to smoke? Like, why are they allowed to smoke inside? Like, what? Who are they? And then we sort of start hearing them like, yo, hey, like, and they're talking in these American accents, and the bar staff is sort of like wanting to sort of hang with them a little bit. They're allowing them to smoke, and I'm like, okay, what's happening? So we sort of go over and we sort of just want to have a smoke inside.
As you do. It's very cool. Yeah.
And so we go over, and they're sort of just all messing about. They've got a lot of energy, and we're just sort of chatting to them. And then the place actually closes. We had a bit of a chat, but they were American, and we're like, that's weird, But the place actually closed, and they were just like, hey, like, do you want to come with us, like, sort of thing? And we were like, okay. And then we sort of go outside, and we jump in this like tour van, and we're like, what? Like, it's this actual van, like big van.
Yeah.
And we're sort of in the van, and we get in, and they're just like, I'm like, what's with this bus, like, sort of thing. And then they're like, hey, we're Unwritten Law, like.
Oh, really?
And I was like, are you? Like, a little bit like skeptical, but then we're like, actually, they probably are. And then
they got the accent, they've got the van. I mean, who it's ticking all the boxes, right? I actually used to love unwritten law when I was in high school, so I actually know who they are. So yeah, this is a cool story. Loving it already. Go.
And so we knew who they were, and then they just sort of like, they're all very rowdy sort of characters, and they're sort of like, who wants to get tattoos, like, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, I do, like, you know, like straight up, like, quite drunk. Have never had a tattoo before, and so we go back and we're sort of in their hotel room. You know, this actually sounds like I'm a groupie, but look, like, it wasn't.
And it's okay if you are a groupie and you did a groupie. There's nothing wrong with that. There's been many people who've done groupie things. We've all been there. So
I'm gonna take it. I'm taking it. I'm claiming it.
Yeah.
So then we went up to their hotel, and it turns out one of them was like a tattooist, and so I'm like, okay, like, I'm gonna get my first tattoos. Drunk as hell, you know. There was some American pharmaceutical drugs going around.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so we're having a good time. Yeah, I got one tattoo. It's like on my wrist here. It's just like a heart. But then I got another one, which is like the flower of life, which is actually on my ass, my butt, and
on the butt cheek.
Yeah, like, it's. I'll show you.
She's showing us. Anyone that's watching this on YouTube, she's got her ass out. She has her ass out. I thought so. It's a flower, is it?
It's the flower of life, which is some sort of spiritual symbol. What a spiritual time it was.
Because I thought when you said you got the flower of life on your ass, I thought you got it actually on your bum hole. Like, so it was like the flower opening up. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, she's about to chuck a moon here. She's about to chuck a brown eye. But no, that's cool. How did you choose the tattoo? Did they have a book where you could go through, or were you on Google just Googling images, like when you're drunk on prescription drugs with a famous band in a hotel in Sydney from America? Like, where like, you need to paint us an image here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I'd had it in my mind for some time, and
Yep.
you know, the minute someone was giving out tattoos, they're in a band, where, you know, we're having fun. I was like, yeah, okay, let's do flower of life and a love heart. Like, hey. But what I didn't know is that, like, well, they did ask me, and I said yes. But they actually did film the tattoo being done on the butt.
They did film it.
It gives me, like, you know, back here, and they actually filmed it. And then there was like some industry night with a lot of like big musicians, and it was shown around.
Yes.
Me getting a tattoo on my butt.
How do you feel about that? I think that's kind of like cool. Like, at an industry night, it's like rock and roll people, punk people. Or was it filmed with, like, they had like a camera person, or was like someone filming on their iPhone?
I think it was just some like phone, and it was
right.
Just, yeah, I had my back turned, and I was just, you know, really I was in pain getting a tattoo, but also really in the moment, the adrenaline was kicking in.
And how do you feel? Do you feel like you should get royalties or something? Is that what you mean by that? Or, but yeah, as long as you gave permission, then it's all fine. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that I feel like I'm really glad that, you know, I got the first tattoos, and I've gotten a lot more since. But that was my first experience.
And that's a cool tattoo story, because everyone has a story behind their first tattoo. Yours getting done by a famous band, punk band from America, that is now shown on a documentary to industry nights with your ass out. Yeah, that's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah.
And there you go. But that's that's one of many.
That's one of your true tall tales about how Jussi got her first tattoo by an American band. Thank you for sharing that story. What was your next story?
My next stories.
Oh wait, was that one finished? Was that story finished?
Well, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we sort of hung around, and we sort of hung out with them for like another day or something, and sort of just chatted, and yeah.
Did you get to kiss one of the band members?
I don't know if there was any kissing involved, but I did. There was an invitation to maybe go on tour, and I was like, I need my Penny Lane moment, but maybe now isn't the time.
I actually remember, this just came to the top of my head when when I used to run a nightclub on Wednesday nights in Sydney at Ruby Rabbit that I had, if you remember, and I had a party there every Wednesday night, which was this really exclusive club in Sydney back in the 2000s, and it had one of the most expensive toilets in Australia to go to, if you remember, going upstairs, where you actually go to the toilet and then it opens up and a gold snake comes out spraying out water to like wash your hands, and it has like, you know, all the Australian B, C grade celebrities up there. But there was one night that I went when Australian Idol was on back in the day, when Australian Idol was huge and massive, and then there was like, I remember it was like some of the contestants were there, and I remember you leaving with one of them at the party, and you're in the paper the next day where it described Jussi, like the rock and roll guy from Australian Idol, forget his name at the time, left with the model girl that was tall with brown brunette hair. Like, was that you? Or maybe it was someone else. Yeah.
I don't know. I do remember this vaguely. Like,
yeah, vaguely.
The 2000s are quite blurry for me.
Yeah, groupie. No, anyway, what was your next story, Juz?
Oh, my next story. I do have a story about, like, it's about a friend of mine, but they got banned from New Zealand for sleepwalking. But
oh my God, please tell more. This is what this podcast is about true tall tales that are so crazy and out there that it's like, how do you get born? How do you get banned from New Zealand? Take it away. Tell the listeners, tell myself.
Yeah. So this didn't happen personally to me. I'm not a sleepwalker, not that I know of, but this certain friend, like, he is a known sleepwalker. Like, he does sleepwalk and he'll do things, quite bizarre things. But he went to New Zealand and they went out and had some drinks, and then he came back to where they were staying early, and everyone else stayed out. What happened was that he was asleep, but he started sleepwalking, and he went into like the woman's next door's house, and she thought someone was breaking in. He's asleep. He's completely asleep, and he's gone out, and he's like opened her door or gone through the back, like, completely asleep. And she's called the police.
As you do, yes.
Yeah, he thinks someone's breaking in. He's asleep and he's talking normally, and he's like, his eyes open, like he seems.
I was gonna say, are your eyes open when you sleepwalk?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It seems like he is like awake. And he's still asleep. The cops get him. They put him in the van. They take him to like the jail or whatever. They take him to like the station. He's in a cell and like he's still asleep. And he suddenly like comes to, like
he wakes up, like actually wakes up.
And he's in like a jail, like he's in like wherever I'm imagining like an old school jail, but obviously it wasn't like that. But yeah, and then he sort of had to say, look, I was sleepwalking. I don't know what happened. They sort of were like, well, whatever, like, kind of thing. He called the people he was with. They had to come down and be like, he's a sleepwalker. It's a thing. Da da da. Like, telling the cops that, like, basically this is a complete sleepwalker thing. And they basically sort of said, look, okay, well, we're going to believe you, but you can't come back to New Zealand.
Really? So if he's had many instances where he's a sleepwalker, does he get to have, I know if you're like diabetic or something, you know how people wear like a necklace that just in case you pass out, it says you're diabetic, so they know what to do if you need to call 000 or the ambulance. Does he have something medically from his doctor that says, like, he's a sleepwalker so he can show that? Or does that not exist yet? Because then you could probably use that to your advantage where you go into 7-Eleven and you steal a packet of cigarettes and Gatorade, and then you get caught and you're like, oh, I was asleep. I'm a sleepwalker. You know what I mean? So when do you choose that it's real and not real? I'm not sure. If anyone can write in who's a professional sleepwalker, but it's not a profession. But like, if you are a sleepwalker like Jussi's friend, I want to know in more detailed, like, how, I don't know, do you need to be medicated? It's actually quite sad because it would be nothing scarier than waking up and you're in a jail cell and you're like, how did I get here? And you have no memory of it. So when he went to that woman's house, all that he did was just open the door. And was he having a conversation with her, or like what? Like, is he trying to steal stuff, or he's just in the house just talking and walking? Like what?
He's just walking around. I think he might have even like, gone to the fridge, like opened up stuff.
Started
like,
eating the yogurt,
like
drinking out of the bottle. So did he get a fine or anything? Like, it's such a weird thing to say you're never... It must have been really bad that he's never allowed to go back to New Zealand.
Yeah, it was like sort of, it's either this or that or something.
Yeah, right.
It was like a this or that, and they sort of, yeah. And I mean, honestly, I'm sure he must have a card by now. Like, if he's continuing to sleepwalk like that.
Of course, like, and especially weird things like that. If you're walking in a random's house and just eating their food, yes, that's really, really bad. But like, not bad if there's no history of like bashing people, raping people, stealing stuff. Like, it's a bit different. If you're like going into people's house and like eating an apple out of their fridge and you don't remember it, then it's like, wow, you're a slit. Oh, that's really sad for him. Like, how do you, like, if he's getting married or he's in a relationship, and it's like, that's scary from himself. Like, if I was a sleepwalker like that, I'd be scared every day of like, every time I wake up, where am I and do I know how I got here? Like, that's actually scary. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think a couple of other times he's like tried to like save someone, like he tried to like he'll get up and he'll like be like, I'm trying to save you from like the cupboard's coming at you, kind of thing. And he's like he's like a protector, like, like.
Right. It's like he's dreaming, but he's awake. Is he like ex-drug user, as like, back in the 20s, did acid and smoked pot, or like, no, not that matters, but like, as in, I don't know. I'm protecting you from the cupboard.
I mean, he grew up Buddhist, but
yeah, right.
With this sort of doing a lot of meditation. So you'd think, like, I don't know, it's maybe it's a special sort of superpower. My mum's was a sleepwalker, so she identifies as that.
Right. It's actually crazy. I mean, it'd be a really good TV show if it was based on this guy or girl like your mum, that the episode starts for every time they wake up, they're somewhere new in a different environment, and they've got to pick up the pieces of how they got there, and they don't remember what they did. That would be a really good TV show, right?
Like Survivor.
I don't know. But yes, sleepwalking, that's something I just haven't thought of in a very, very long time. Oh, I like your stories. Have you got any more true tales of why we're here for the podcast? If not, that's okay.
Oh, I do. I mean,
here, why you
tale? I work in mental health at the moment, so.
Oh, okay, that's cool that you're helping. I think mental health is a very important thing, especially times of change. Of, you're not allowed to. No one knew what was wrong with them. I'm someone that has ADHD, so it's like mental health is like really good, and makes so much sense. Anyone that knows me, I'm very fast paced. I try to slow down the way that I talk for podcasts so people can understand me. But I'm the type of guy that will lay in bed, have the laptop open, working on something while I'm messaging and emailing on my phone, while watching a TV show, but with music on in the background while my leg's shaking. Like, it's intense. I don't medicate myself, but I've discovered that I've just joined the gym 13 weeks ago, and putting all that energy into the gym tires me out. It's like I'm a child. Tires me out, and it gets rid of all my ADHD energy. So by the time I get to the end of the day, it's fine. I'm good. I'm tired out. So that's something I've worked out for myself, and getting like a Love Island body at the same time. So it's a win-win situation. I've got pecs now. Sorry, was there a story that you wanted to tell? If not, I've got something to tell you.
Okay, you tell
Yeah, no,
me.
just why you think at the top of your head. And if you don't have a story, that's fine. You've told 2 great stories to the podcast, and myself and the listeners are very grateful for that, for telling your true tall tale. But I can intervene in, I know that you love cats. As you know, that was part of your intro. Sometimes I think you're a cat. Sometimes I think you're a cat in your past life. You do love them. Meow. I don't think, when I used to live with Ainsley, who you know, I don't think you ever met our cat, Ja Rule. Because Ja Rule was later, and Jussi, who's on the show right now, we haven't seen each other in about, I would say, 10 years. So it's been a long time, and not even weird that we're talking to each other now, but it's been that long. But we have a mutual friend, and we had a cat together, and I've never had a cat. And she said, I'm going to get a cat. And I said, all right, if you get the cat, I'm not really a cat person. I'm a dog person. I get to name it. And she goes, all right, done. So she bought the kitten, brought it home. We're living in Bondi at the time, I think. And she brought the cat home, and the cat was black, and he had a little cute pink nose. He looked like Sylvester, and he had white paws. He was a very, very good-looking cat, put it that way. And I named him Ja Rule. And it got to the point that every time someone met our cat, we'd be like, oh, that's Ja Rule. And they go, sorry, what's your cat's name? I'm like, Ja Rule, like the rapper. But it got to the point that everyone who met Ja Rule, the cat, you wouldn't even think of the rapper first. You thought of the cat first, Ja Rule. But in context, if we were out in having breakfast somewhere and we met some new people, we're like, oh, Ja Rule was so annoying last night. And I'm like, I know, Ja Rule was annoying everyone. And people are listening to the conversation like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How do you guys know Ja Rule? We're like, it's a cat. Like, they're like, oh, okay. Moral of the story is, which I wanted to tell you, is that when we moved to Surrey Hills, we had an avocado tree in the backyard, and I have a fear. There's 2 things I have a fear of, Jussi: rats and mice. They're my 2 fears. People are afraid of heights. People are afraid of sharks. I'm afraid of rats, and I'm afraid of mice. Like, freaks me out. My mum and my sister are the same. Cats usually are good because they kill rats and they kill mice, and as you know, they get presents and they put them outside your door, and that's like them saying, hey, this is my affection, that I love you, I've killed this for you, and I'm presenting it to you. And I used to shut my door because Ja Rule would basically, he would come in the room and I just would get itchy, so he's not allowed to sleep with me, so I'd shut my door. Ja Rule never ever brought a dead mouse or a rat to our door. Do you know what Ja Rule used to bring us? This is so Surrey Hills, by the way. He used to bring us baby avocados and leave them in a line outside my door and Ainsley's door. So you'd wake up, or if you had a friend over, like, oi, why is there avocados outside your door? And it's just like a line of avocados. So our cat, named Ja Rule, used to get baby avocados and put them as presents outside our door. How cute is that?
Oh my gosh.
Second thing about Ja Rule is he was hectic. He's actually on a farm now. And I know people are like, Sonny, you know that means that, like, when he's been sent to a farm, they're like killing him. Like, no. Ainsley actually has this friend who owns a farm. He's actually gone. He lives on a farm now, Ja Rule. But he was a hectic. He was very evil, but in a loving way. He used to, put it this way, he used to knock on the door when we lived in Bondi, he'd knock on the door and go, knock, 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 meow, meow, like that, and you'd let him in and stuff, and then he'd knock on the door. Like, how humanized is that? But yeah. Ja Rule, the cat that left avocados outside our door.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I thought I'd share that little true tall tale for you because you love cats and you were a cat in your past life. Now, but you're more than welcome to come back on the show anytime you like. I'm very excited for you to explore the world and go overseas, like you did mention to me before we started doing this interview. You look amazing. The fan's amazing. Check out Jussi's art. She is an artist. If you, I will put her link to her Instagram where you can see her artwork. As anyone that's watching this on YouTube, you can see it in the background. She's very talented. Not only is she a cat in her past life, she's a very talented artist, and that's something that I love about you, that you've always stuck with your creativity. Thank you for sharing your many, many stories on today's show, and you're welcome to come back at any time. My name's Sunny Boy. This is our guest, Jussi. Thank you for coming on True Tall Tales. Jussi.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute delight. I'd love to share more.
Yes, come back on the show. Rah, rah, rah. If any of you out there have a friend or you want to tell your story, please reach out to me on True Tall Tales at True Tall Tales podcast at gmail.com, or just send me a message on any of the links, all that jazz, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, and I will get you on the show. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Sunny Boy. Her name's Jussi, and we will speak to you soon. And thank you for listening to our True Tall Tales. Peace out. Meow.